perception of speed is a growing topic of interest. The one thing that you mentioned there, I think, is a really interesting point related to this, is that anytime your site has a dead end, it's a bad experience.
Yeah.
So a lot of times is that, it's like if you go to one of my favorite examples of a non-dead end is like, what you really should do is a redirect. But have you ever seen like incredibly designed 404s? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're beautifully designed 404s.
Well,
like
there's a Russian website one where it's like the construction website where all the construction guys on the website. It's like a vector graphic and they're all dancing, and the music's so joyous that you'll sit there and listen to the whole song.
Yeah, so it's like and it's similar to like if you're on an e-com site and you search for shoes and you bring back no results rather than related topics, so the journey doesn't end. You're giving them suggestions of other things that might keep them engaged or trying to meet their goals. So back to this perception of speed though, I just wanted to get your take, like if say that there's a designer listening and they're in the process of kind of iterating on different options for load screens. Like where would you start? Like what do you think an ethical and well designed loading screen looks like today?
So there's a couple of things from like research which I've done myself. There's a talk I gave like in regards to designing for speed, designing for friction, and so what you see is skeleton screens. So basically it's like content placeholders. Usually they're grey boxes. That actually works quite well. Loading in frosted or pixelated images first and then replacing them with high quality ones. Basically you want to get content in as soon as possible. So Medium, LinkedIn, they do like these content placeholders or frosted, like Medium doesn't. Header images are frosted slightly before the full one comes in. Basically if you've got a blank page, people don't know what's going on and you need to fill it with content just to reassure the user that something's coming. So frosted images.
How would you, if people aren't familiar with the skeleton screen, how would you describe it?
So if you were to open up Google Maps, they do skeleton screens on there as well. So basically, you've got say like Maps or Medium or LinkedIn. When you first open it, I think Facebook does this as well. Actually, you'll see lots of grey boxes where the content is, and it won't be 100% accurate, but it's basically telling the user content's loading and it's coming and it'll be in this space here. So a big box for the images, lots of grey lines for the text, and then they swap it out the moment the content is there. That's pretty much the basis of a skeleton screen.
So it's giving the reader a hierarchy or like an organization of what the page will look like when it's done.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, yeah. So as the sort of the term suggests, like it's the skeleton of the page basically. And it's not 100% accurate, so you don't have to make sure that some articles or some designs will have the images will be bigger on the other. That's not the point. The point is showing something rather than showing nothing. The only danger with grey boxes is that when you ask users feedback, they think it's broken because especially on the web and UI, grey is always like disabled or not working, like is the color of choice. So grey is perhaps maybe not the best thing. So what you see like Google is it Google Photos or Google Photo Search? What they do is they show a base color of the image. So if the image is mostly red, they'll show like a tone of red to represent that. I mean, if you can get an engineer to do that for you, just like a sort of replacement. I think there are like libraries and frameworks where you can actually do something similar to that online. And that way, it brings some color into the page while the page is loading. So that can be quite cool as an alternative. But the other one is just like frosted images. So the image when it's coming in is just really low pixel. And for designers, we like to see the finished thing. So when we design, we always design the finished load state. But when you look at the UX hierarchy of importance on the web, the most important thing is speed. So showing something, even if it's partially loaded, is better than showing nothing. Especially if the site or app you're working on is like a service, like an e-commerce site or something like that. If it's like a game, then there's a kind of it's all contextual. So there's kind of expectation that people will download the whole thing first and then play, because it's expected that those things will be much larger. But if it's an actual service or a system that someone has to do an activity, like purchase a ticket or use a map or whatever, then you kind of have to use these techniques to speed the person along as much quickly as possible. Otherwise, if they get bored, they'll just abandon and find another experience.